Spicy. Kyle Rittenhouse verdict not guilty. Let's see.
Okay, today's topic. Now, Preacher's not here right now because he's out living his best life. He's traveling at the moment. So I figured I would just do this real quick, and then if there's follow-ups to be done, we will. As far as the verdict goes, people really kept asking me about my thoughts about the trial. Now the verdict is in.
The defendant will rise, face the jury, and hearken to its verdicts.
State of Wisconsin versus Kyle Rittenhouse. As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury polled?
No.
Okay. Okay, folks, your job is done, and we started just about 3 weeks ago. And I told you it could last 2 weeks and 2 days. This is 2 weeks. This is 3 weeks. You were a wonderful jury to work with. You were punctual. You were attentive.
It is what I expected to happen. All they really have to do in this case is get reasonable doubt. And if you looked at all the facts of the case, you watched the video footage, the testimonies. I mean, the moment the guy got up on the stand and said, listen, he only shot me when I pointed my gun at him, it's like, bruh.
Now, the state claimed that Grosskreutz did not pose a threat to Rittenhouse when he confronted him in the street, that he even had his hands up at one point. But he did have a pistol in one of those hands, and the defense rather, proved that got Grosskreutz to admit that Rittenhouse did not fire at him until he lowered his hands and pointed the gun.
Whoa!
And so for me, watching the case unfold, looking at the testimonies, I'm like, yeah, this is what I expected to happen. And once the jury took more than a day to come back from deliberations, in my mind, it was pretty clear that he was going to get off. Because when your goal is reasonable doubt and the jury's taking that long deliberation, clearly there's a lot of doubt cemented and they're asking a bunch of questions. So just from my personal anecdotal experience watching a high-profile case, when it takes a long, long time, generally the person's going to be going free on the most serious charges. And in this case, he was acquitted of all charges. Now, people ask me, do I think he should be guilty? From a legal standpoint, no, not at all. Watching the details of the case, I'm like, I don't think so. From a moral standpoint, I think it's a bit different. You can look at his behavior as reckless, extremely dangerous, antagonizing. Sure. You can look at it a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to lecture everybody about what they should or shouldn't think about that. What I do think is really unfortunate.
I think like it's an easy claim to make that his actions were reckless. A 17-year-old going to a protest armed. It's pretty reckless. That's a pretty reckless thing to do. I would make that argument.
Me watching this from afar and paying attention to this is how everybody frames this from a political angle, right? If you're left-leaning, he's a vigilante, stalker, killer, dangerous person. And if you're right-leaning, a lot of people say he's a fucking hero. Like, bro, can we slot it in between? You know what I'm saying? Can we find a bit of a middle ground without having to politicize the whole thing? Because it feels as though when people go through these lengths to misrepresent the facts of what happened, to characterize this person in things that are not yet justified, they rile people up. It gets people very aggravated. People get their pitchforks, they put their lines in the sand, and they pick their team. And so based off whatever team you are, he's either guilty or he's innocent, rather than just looking at what actually happened. And I think that's the most unfortunate part for me watching this. It made me think of that case a while back where a cop was called and this girl was trying to like stab somebody else, and the cop shot the young black woman, and then everybody lost their minds. And I'm like, but that's what the cop is supposed to do. If someone's brandishing a knife, look, this is just me. If it's my daughter, okay, and she's about to get stabbed, you best believe I want the cop to shoot the person who's about to stab her. But people have like this anti-police slant so hard that all logic just goes out the window when it comes to these kind of things. And for me watching it's just unfortunate because I'm like, bro, you know damn well if it's your daughter in that situation or your family member who's about to get stabbed, you want the police officer to act. You feel me? So that's what I think this case demonstrated. Like the particulars of the case are not that interesting. Once you realize a certain set of facts, you're like, all right, well, this is pretty obviously going to be self-defense. Like, you know, there's nothing that can really convince me that beyond a reasonable doubt that this man is guilty.
Going
right?
out of your way to defend a community and offering aid to them is pretty heroic, or no? Nah, I think it's, again, my position on her, okay. I think just that statement is meant to seem heroic, but in light of other circumstances. One, they knew that the protest was violent, it was riot, and two, the individual knew that they would be in harm's way and by putting themselves into those explicit circumstances. Three, they were 17 years old, and four, they brought a gun, right? Which could further agitate the situation. I would argue that this makes it reckless, and I would argue that if you are being, I'd say the meme or whatever, right? I think it was stupid, him going out there. I don't think it was heroic. And I think you ought draw a line at stupidity versus bravery, or stupidity versus being a hero. I think the reason why you ought to do that is to avoid people trying to act like they're a hero in the opposite direction, right? I would say a good example of this were the people that were chasing after Kyle Rittenhouse. They thought they were heroes. They thought they were Bruce Wayne. They thought they were like gonna take down the big bad shooter, but it was just stupid. And we ought to be able to say what they did was stupid. When you do something that, you know, enters the level of recklessness or stupidity, I don't think I can call it a heroic action. I could argue it has good intent, but you're not going to get any more.
So that part didn't, it means everything surrounding it. Like the media's pressure and like just individuals just getting on top and be like, white supremacy. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But it doesn't mean he needs to take a position. Would it be less reckless if he concealed carry? Yeah, I think it would be less reckless for sure. But I'm not of the opinion that he even necessarily should have gone it, personally. And had it been the case. I think I'd be significantly more open to, I guess, hero claim or whatever. Heroic claim.
So now, dude, all the riling up, I don't know if there's going to be more riots and more looting.
All heroic actions are kind of stupid. That's not true because they can be brave. You can have a brave action, but not a stupid action. So, for instance, if you have a shooter that is going from room to room and you can hear them shooting and killing people, you see them shooting and killing people, and they're coming up to your room, and your room is full of people, right? And you're in a corner, there's nothing you can do, and then, like, you ambush or you try and grab the guy when they come into the room, right? That would be a heroic action, right? It would be a brave action. Because you don't really have any other... You don't have any other thing that you can do. You're in a corner. You can't retreat. The shooter isn't retreating. They're actively encroaching on you, and you have reason to believe that they will shoot everybody in the room. So you do something brave and bold by trying to physically assault the person who has the weapon. That would be something brave, not necessarily something reckless.
Or burning, and if there is, like...
You could say firefighters do heroic actions, but not stupid, right? Because they train, because it's their job. They take it seriously. That's what they're trained to do, and they take that seriously, right? It's a dangerous job, but they're brave. They're not being stupid. A firefighter doesn't go, you know what? Like, let's just leave all of our protective equipment at home, and let's just, see what's up and shit. Like, no. Like, they don't do things that are stupid. They do things that are brave, that putting themselves in harm's way and what have you. Bravery doesn't happen when you act or die? What do you mean? Is it really bravery when you don't have other options? I think so. I legitimately think so. Because you have, otherwise to say is that you have no other moral expectation to be able to do otherwise. I think the moral expectation is that you sit there and you freeze. But somebody who is brave enough to not freeze, get out of that like paralysis or fear for their life and be able to fight, is brave. That's a brave thing to do.
some point, maybe this is just me. We have to find a better way to deal with this stuff rather than just burning the local mom and pop shops and the local spots around. Like, I don't know. To me, it
Like,
just doesn't
I
seem
don't
sensible.
know. Maybe there are some people in here that have never been in a seriously scary situation. It's not easy to act. In action, people act like, well, it's not brave if it's between inaction and action. It absolutely is. 100% it is. It's not easy to act in many of these situations, especially like an active shooter situation. So I've been told by people that have been in the environment. You often freeze, and it would take an act of bravery to not be frozen.
Well, it continues to do that. Someone asked me too. They said, but do you think he was fake crying? I mean, that man is an ugly crier. And so if he faked it, his acting skills at 17 are superb. But again, it feels like people want to characterize everything based off of where they lean.
In a sloppy way, you wouldn't call the neighbor heroic? No, I wouldn't call the neighbor heroic. Because they put themselves in a position where they have a high likelihood of death. So what you're talking about, Java, is a post hoc rationalization of heroic actions. I don't think because you got lucky, that means you're a hero. So let me give you an example. I fire a gun like this.
100,
just,
I know that how Rittenhouse is a white supremacist. He's not subscribed to Ahrelevant's YouTube.
True.
Don't be a white supremacist and subscribe to the YouTube by
Accurate.
typing !YouTube.
True. If I fire a gun just 30 degrees into the air, I just fire a gun like that, and then it fucking hits a terrorist in the back of his fucking head that was about to, like, kill 30 people through whatever fucking means. Does that make me a hero? The fuck? Okay, now, what if I'm somebody who actively, let's say, just because I fucking did that, okay, let's say that I am somebody in a crowd, right? And I see some dude that's about to commit a shooting 30 yards away from me, and there's a bunch of people running, and I am never held a gun in my life. I'm like, and I fucking fire, and I manage to pick the time perfectly where nobody's in my line of sight, and I fucking hit that guy right in the back of his fucking spine, right? And I fucking crumple him, all right? Does that make me a hero? Fuck off. That was reckless. It was cool that I got the shot, but no, that doesn't make you a hero.
Politically. If you went online, right, and you went to any media celebrity who commented on this, or any YouTube personality, if you just looked at how they leaned politically, that was going to infer what they thought the verdict should be.
Because if you replicate that same thing, you just got lucky. I don't know what to say. You won the lottery. Congratulations. That doesn't make you a hero. The post hoc rationalization for that, in my opinion, doesn't make you a hero.
Right? Whether or not they watched the video, whether or not they followed the trial, whether or not they watched the witness testimonies.
And very reckless. Whatever arbitrary way you decide is like the level of recklessness you're able to draw is up to you. The meme of there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. I would say if you're brave, you're heroic. And then, assuming you do a good action, you would be heroic. And then if you're stupid, you're not being heroic. You're just got reckless, and you were being reckless and you got lucky. So whatever you consider to be very reckless, you can consider whatever. But if you consider anything like that to be heroic, you're just post hoc rationalizing. And if I had hit somebody, you would say I'm not a hero. And that's what I find stupid. I would call a firefighter that breaks into a fucking house trying to save people, the kids inside, heroic, whether they succeed or fail. I would call them heroic. However, I would not say the same in many of these other scenarios, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm holding a gun, right? And I have a 99.99999% chance of fucking shooting somebody and killing this active shooter, of shooting an innocent person and not killing this active shooter. But I rolled the 0.00, the infinitely small chance to be able to actually hit this fucking shooter. And now all of a sudden I'm a hero. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit.
Just knew how they leaned politically. You knew where they were going to say pretty much 95% of the time. And I think that's what the conversation should be focused on, because I think that's what created all this public pressure for this to even be prosecuted, for all this to even happen. And I think that's also fueling a lot of our divide. So,
burning building that is not trained, not heroic. Yeah, if they have no training, I would say it's absolutely not heroic. No, I would say it's you are just massively putting yourself at. You're just have such a disproportionate rate of just getting yourself killed, and potentially even making it harder for somebody to try and rescue the person inside. You could absolutely do that. You could fuck up one of the doors and one of the door handles to make it harder for firefighters to be able to do it, having to bust out the jaws of life instead of being able to use like various other methods to be able to do so. You're just throwing yourself in harm's way for no good reason. I believe just doing things that are reckless or that puts yourself in harm's way does not make you a hero. That is a ridiculous way of looking at things, in my opinion.
I think that's pretty much summarizing my thoughts on this. I'm worried that, you know, there's going to be more fires and more violence that's going to stem from this. And
it's very likely you would just die. Like, people act like, okay, me, this random guy, I'm just going to run into a burning building. But why, guy? I'm just going to do it. And then they die, and it's like, wow, what a hero. The next person goes, oh, yeah, okay. They run into the burning building. They die. Another hero. Yeah, okay, let's all do. Yeah, run it. They die. Maybe we should be a little bit smart. No, they're heroes. Let's run into a burning. Oh, they died. Another hero. Huh, okay, I want to be a hero, guys. 17-year-old runs in the fucking building. Oh, yeah, they're a hero. A 16-year-old runs into the fucking burning building. Oh, they're another hero. Like, dude, holy shit. You guys have a really weird definition of hero, dude. Holy fucking shit. I would say, so I think the disconnect here, hold on. A lifeguard is brave because he has the training necessary to save everybody himself from drowning. A random citizen, well, no, hold on. You could possibly, so I think this is the big disconnect. I think people are getting the intent mixed up with what is the, like, whether or not it's actually there, right? So I would say that that person was being stupid, but had very good intent. They had the intent to be able to save somebody. I don't think intent makes you a hero. I don't think that makes you a hero. That's the disconnect I think a lot of people are running with. If a 5-year-old runs into a burning building, it's brave. By your definition, you realize that, right? It's theoretically possible that a 5-year-old could save people from a burning building, but it would still be brave because we're not talking about the argument of the possibility for them to be able to do it, right? That's your argument. It's brave because they're trying to be selfless, so you guys would say a 5-year-old running into a burning building is brave. I call that stupid, okay? I call that stupid, in my opinion, right? I just call that stupid. I don't think, heroic, excuse me. I want to use separate terminology. Because brave, people could make the argument that brave just means of good intent. And I want to separate that from being a hero, right? I want to separate that just in case because the lines are getting crossed on that one. I don't think a 5-year-old running into a burning building makes them a hero. I don't think it does. I mean, do you? And if so, why not? You know, if so, why is a 5-year-old running into a burning building not a hero? Legitimately. Why is a 3-year-old running into a burning building not a hero? Your argument will be the exact same as mine. It's because of the low probability. It's because of the low probability for that person to be able to actually be able to get what you want done. What do you mean? 5-year-old is brave but stupid. Heroic and bravery are two different things. I don't think you could be. I don't think brave but stupid counts here. You can make the argument that I'm using them on a separate plane here. That 3-year-old is a hero. Okay, we just have radically different definitions of it. I don't think bribery equals heroism. That's why I wanted to separate it. So I would say again, to anybody, hold on, to everybody in chat that disagrees with my definition of heroism, is a 3-year-old running into a burning building or a hero? Excuse me. Are they a hero? A 3-year-old running into a burning building to save people, are they a hero? If not, why? Why? Why is a 3-year-old not a hero for doing that? You're going to default on the same argument as me. Why is a 3-year-old running into a burning building not a hero? They're doing something selflessly. They're trying to save other people's lives. Why aren't they a hero by your definition? Can we look up the definition of hero? The definition of hero is going to be nebulous and irrelevant. I don't think a 3-year-old knows the possible consequences an adult does. Wait, do you think just knowing the possible consequences? Okay, so then this is about to get really radical. Let's say that there is a active shooter, right? There's an active shooter going on right now. Like there's a guy who's committing a shooting in the middle of an airport, right? He's in the middle of an airport, right? And this guy's intent is that if this shooter sees a bunch of people, right? Like, they're just going to, for some reason, stop shooting. That's what they think. They're going to be a hero, and they're going to say, oh, you know what? I looked up online that if shooters look into your eyes or whatever, there's a weird thing that you're supposed to look people in the eyes. If the shooter looks somebody in the eyes, they're going to have a hard time shooting them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to direct this shooter to where all the people are, so that way they stop shooting people. I have this great idea, right? We all know it's probably never going to work, right? But they're doing it in good jest, or they're doing it in good faith. Would that person be a hero? Yes or no? Because the probability of their fucking, the thing that they're actively doing is incredibly low to succeed. It doesn't matter. They have good intent. Yes or no? What even is this? This is an example of somebody doing something that is beyond stupid. This is like a level of stupidity that we probably have never heard of. But they did it in good moral faith. They were trying to stop an active shooter. If you engage with a hypothetical, you're going to realize real fast that intent doesn't matter. That intent doesn't matter. What matters is the reality of what you are doing. That is not quite a fair example, because it's impossible for a 3-year-old to do anything. That's not true at all. Nice meme. What age are they again? Let's say they're 18 years old. You realize students/teachers stopping school shooters wouldn't be considered by using your logic? Yes, they would. I literally gave the initial example of somebody stopping a shooter, and primarily in the environment of a school. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I just don't understand why an action can't be heroic and stupid. I would still say it's heroic. It's because very simple. When we're talking about an action being stupid, in relation to a heroic action, what are we referencing as something being stupid? Putting other people's lives at risk, or increasing the rate at which the chance of somebody dying. That's what we're talking about. So I would just like people to engage with a hypothetical, because people aren't engaging with a hypothetical because they're being fucking stupid. The hypothetical is pretty fucking simple. If somebody does something really fucking stupid, like directs an active shooter towards more fucking people because they think in their mind, they think that it's going to result in the shooter not shooting more people, right? If they think that is the case, then are they a hero? If your answer is no, then what you have to contend with is the reality of the probabilities. Is what you're arguing, or you're arguing a post hoc rationalization. Those are your only two options. Your only two options are either post hoc, they're only a hero if it works out, which is stupid and ridiculous, or if it has to do with the chance that the person is successful. Those are your only two options if you actually contend with a hypothetical. But that makes you really fucking uncomfortable. So I'll say one last fucking time. There is an active shooter. An 18-year-old guy fucking directs that active shooter towards more people for some reason in a lapse of judgment, thinking that it's going to save more lives. That person is heroic by your standards because they're doing something that is very brave with selfless intentions to be able to save lives. If your answer is no, you have to appeal to one of two things. Again, one, that it has to do with the post hoc rationalization of that's obviously not going to work and therefore not brave or heroic. Or two, the chances or likelihood that your action will result in a successful thing. I could further this example. What if by directing that shooter towards that group of people, that shooter goes, oh fuck, I am doing something wrong, lays the gun down, and they walk away? Would you call that guy who just directed that active shooter to the room full of people a hero? Would you say that? God, people are just, please, just entertain something in your fucking life.